Hello and welcome to Random Shit Random Guy. As always, I am your host Phil, and this is a special live edition of the RSRG Entertainment Podcast, live from Max Toys and Games here in Corbin, Kentucky. That's right, we have went live for the first time, and wanted to tell you guys to stop by. Free comic book day is today, guys. You can get some free books. If you're not in the Corbin area, make sure you stop by your local comic book store today. There's a lot of great titles out from Marvel, DC, all the brands, guys. Marvel's put out a special Guardians of the Galaxy comic book and a Rocket Raccoon comic book advertising their upcoming movie Guardians of the Galaxy coming out this August. And we've also got the DC event Futures In. There's a preview comic of that as well for this upcoming event coming probably this fall, if I had to guess. I believe it starts in September. So if you want to get a jump start on what's going on with Futures In, make sure you get down to one of your local comic book stores, especially Max Toys and Games here in Corbin, Kentucky, and get your free comics. I am joined by my guest host this week, Mr. Cody Smith, once again. How you doing, Cody?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, you seem pretty excited to be here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
8 o'clock in the morning.
8 o'clock in the morning. I swear, I think this is the earliest podcast I've ever recorded.
Yeah.
And you know what?
I'm probably still asleep.
I can tell. No. But what comics are you excited about? You excited about the Marvel titles, DC titles? Some of the indie titles, I know you're a Marvel guy like myself.
Oh yeah, it's all Marvel.
Yeah,
Excited for all.
I mean the Futures In storyline. It has some Batman in it. You've recently read Batman Eternal.
Yeah.
What do you think of the first issue of Batman Eternal?
It's pretty good. I mean, it's hard for me to get into Batman, but
what do you think of the art? I know you're an art guy.
Yeah, I love the art.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Yeah, for sure. And then we've got a special event this weekend. Not only is it, Free Comic Book Day, Amazing Spider-Man 2 came out last night.
Oh, yeah.
I guess technically it came out on Thursday, but it's out. And it's going to be I loved it. I went and watched it last night. I'm not going to lie. It's amazing. The pun intended, the movie is amazing. You don't want to miss out on watching, it stars, Andrew Garfield once again as Peter Parker / Spider-Man. You have the Gwen Stacy once again in the Stone, and all the great things that go along with that film.
Mm-hmm.
You recently watched the first film. What did you think of it?
It was alright. I mean, it kind of seemed like a rush into it, but you said the new one doesn't do that.
Yeah, the new one's not as rushed as the first one was, in my opinion. There is a couple plot holes, but they're not enough to affect the storyline, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I wanted to talk about this is the main event going on, not only to advertise the movie, we have the Amazing Spider-Man #1.
Mm-hmm.
The Amazing Spider-Man #1 is right now probably one of the highest selling comics.
Yeah.
Over 500,000 comics was ordered through Diamond. I mean, that's a lot of comic books.
A lot.
And I'm surprised to see a comic of that magnitude being ordered.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems crazy to think that 500,000 comics, but I wonder how many of those comics were ordered because of variants. I mean, you have to think all these comic book stores have to order it's a comic book store incentive to order these variants, but really, is it an incentive? I think it's more of a hassle.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to think, to get I think the smallest variant, it's usually 20 copies, but I believe this time it was 50 copies just to get one variant.
Jeez.
I mean, how many of these stores can actually, move 50 copies of the same comic?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't seem like a good plan for Diamond.
Yeah.
But you got to think, Diamond's worried about Diamond. They're not worried about your local distributors.
Yeah, that's true.
This past week on Infinite Crossover, they discussed, how Diamond is kind of hurting the industry with the variant covers. Now, variant covers are nice. I mean, we're looking at an Alex Ross cover on the wall, and I mean, that's a beautiful cover.
Yeah.
It's done in watercolors, like traditional Alex Ross art.
I love that style.
Yeah, and he does a fantastic job on it. But he does a great job on it, like I was saying. But you have to pay it. I mean, it costs these artists. I mean, not the artists. It costs the comic book retailers a lot of money to get these covers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for instance, here at Max Toys and Games, yeah, he ordered the first initial run, and did sell out of that initial run, and had to go back and get some more, which is great. I think it's awesome when comic book stores have to go back and get more of the same comic because the demand is that high.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that's because of the movie, or do you think it's because it's in #1?
It could be both, you know.
I mean, we've not had an Amazing Spider-Man #1 since I think it was '97. Now, granted, should there be an Amazing Spider-Man #1? No, there should not. I'm answering that question for you. No, you should not have ended the whole run, but it's still really cool to think about. That, you know, it's such an important episode for the comics world. I mean, but then we got the movie going along with it. Of course, it was planned for Free Comic Book Day to, you know, be one of the highlight comics of the weekend. I think it's gonna. I don't think a lot of these stores are gonna be sitting on a lot of copies. I mean, you've got your stores like Midtown Comics, who's got eight. Midtown Comics, I believe, had 12 different variants. Is there a need for 12 different variants of the same comic book?
No.
I mean, you're like me. You read the occasional comic book, and does a variant change the story to you?
No, not at all.
And why is that?
You know,
it's just a cover.
Yeah. Is
it going to raise the value of the book? No. I mean, some of them are. Some artists, you know, your sketch covers, those will be worth some money. But a lot of these, yeah, they're in limited run, but a limited run of 50,000 comics isn't a limited run.
No.
It's just that, to me, that just sounds kind of ridiculous, and it seems like it would hurt these people in the industry.
Yeah.
If any of you guys got any questions about, you know, how Amazing Spider-Man is hurting the industry, helping the industry, I want to hear from you guys. Tweet us at RSRG Podcast on Twitter, and we will live tweet with you guys, and let us know if you can hear us. You know, hey, that's nice. We like to hear responses from the crowd, as you know, we've got some people coming in and out of the store.
It's getting a little busy.
It's getting a little busy. We're starting to get some customers and having a good time here at Max Toys and Games in Corbin, Kentucky, on Main Street. But yeah, the movie, like I said, I know you haven't saw it yet, but it's a really great film. I mean, it's no work of art.
Oh yeah.
If a lot of people I know is going to compare this film to the last Marvel movie, which is Captain America.
Yeah,
that is such a damn good movie. How can you compare that to you know, Spider-Man?
That's true.
Now, is Spider-Man the greatest character? I'll answer that question for you. Yes, he is. But when it comes to, you know, selling movies where Marvel doesn't have the rights to it, Sony just doesn't really do it right, in my opinion. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you.
I mean, Sony just, they kind of, I mean, Sony's only property is Spider-Man. It's kind of hard for that to be the only title that you have going on when I don't know, it just seems difficult for one company just to have that one movie, because I mean, they have to keep these going to keep the rights to the films. For instance, with Amazing Spider-Man, we just had Amazing Spider-Man come out this year. They're going to go straight to recording Amazing Spider-Man #3 later this year, and then following that, they're going to do some villain movies. Now, do you think the villain movies are the way to go? Like, I mean, they're wanting to do a Sinister Six, and then they want to do a Venom movie as well.
I don't know.
I think the Venom movie will work out. Sinister Six can work. I mean, the guy playing Harry Osborn to me is amazing.
Yeah.
Now, going in, I was wondering about this kid. I was wondering how it was going to work. It really bothered me. I didn't think he was going to be very good in the role. He fooled me. He did a great job.
That's good.
A lot of people was worried about the suits. Now, I know you're going to have people who aren't going to agree with me. They're going to think these suits aren't that great. But personally, I think the suits are awesome. I love the new Amazing Spider-Man suit over the first one.
Yeah.
The big eyes compared to the sunglass thing. Now, in the first one, it was creative.
Yeah.
How he used the sunglasses to use that as his eyes, and
yeah,
that really worked.
it did.
Now, in the new movie, you don't find out where the costume comes from or anything, and I'm 100% okay with that. There's some funny. There's a lot of Peter Parker style jokes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like how he's kind of a smart ass.
Yeah.
And he shows a smart ass side as Peter Parker as well as being, Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
It's great. He makes jokes with the cops. He makes jokes with Gwen. And then the relationship love story is great going on there as well. It seems to really work for the movie. I know a lot of people had some problems with the critics.
Yeah.
Do you believe that people should even listen to critics?
No.
I mean, how can a critic tell you what you're gonna like?
Yeah.
And more importantly, how can a critic tell you how a comic book fan is gonna like a movie that's about comic books? I mean, how many of these critics have joined in on the comic book world? I mean, for instance, we're in a geek renaissance.
Yeah.
I mean, we're getting 2 Marvel movies a year. This year, we're getting technically 4 Marvel movies in 1 year, plus a Disney Marvel project that comes out later this year in November.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to get some great Marvel films coming out. And my question is, too much too soon?
It could be, yeah.
I mean, 5 Marvel movies in 1 year could be an overload, but at the same time, I want to see them. I mean, is that going to stop me from going?
No.
No, it's not. It's going to stop you from going?
No.
So, I mean...
But we love that stuff.
Yeah, we're the exception to the rule. How many... And, I mean, my question is, how is Guardians of the Galaxy going to perform?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a character that myself as a comic book fan don't know that well.
Yeah.
I mean, I know a little bit, but I didn't know until I decided to look because the movie was coming out.
Mm-hmm.
And but one thing that's helping with Guardians of the Galaxy is, of course, they're pushing it with Free Comic Book Day this year.
Yeah.
With their main gold comic from Marvel is Guardians of the Galaxy. It also includes a preview for this fall's upcoming project, Spider-Verse, which will be pretty cool. Spider-Verse will be the first time that all Spider-Men have been linked together in one world.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's going to be really fun. I don't know how it's going to work, but I think it's going to be fun.
Oh yeah.
But that could be a success or a failure again.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we just come off such a highlight event in Superior Spider-Man. I know you didn't read it, but it sold so well and the books were so good. Was the ending that great? Man, I wanted it to be great, but it just was kind of lackluster. That doesn't mean it wasn't good. It was still good, but man, it just wasn't what it should have been.
Yeah.
But moving away from Amazing Spider-Man, if you haven't saw it yet, and most people haven't, go to the movies this weekend, man. Help them hit $100 million this weekend. I mean, it would be really great to see them beat out Cap, money-wise.
Oh yeah.
And it's good for the industry.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Captain America hit $96 million in its opening weekend.
Jesus.
I can't imagine that this. I mean, it's a couple weeks later, and yeah, Cap's still in the theaters, but man, I just can't see why you would not go and watch this movie.
The Captain America.
No, Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
I mean, you've got the same audience, but I understand. Again, Captain America is a Marvel film, while this is Sony.
Yeah,
and that's an important issue that a lot of people, including myself, forget about a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But man, they marketed this film so well. They put so much money behind it. I believe it cost almost $400 million to make. They spent over $200 million on advertising it.
Yeah.
So I mean, the budget's big, the project's big. Is the return going to be worth the risk?
Yeah.
And that's something to think about. But again, we're going to move away from that. But if you haven't yet, go see the movie. Hit your local comic book store and purchase a copy of Amazing Spider-Man #1. You do not want to miss out on that. A lot of fun as a comic. A lot of fun for everybody who's a Spider-Man fan or a fan of the Marvel Universe. Because I mean, you gotta keep in mind, Peter Parker is one of the flagship characters of our world.
Oh yeah.
But moving away from that a little bit, let's get into some games, shall we?
Yeah.
Some old school games. Now, I know you're a bit of a gamer. You like your PC games.
Oh yeah.
But as a kid, what was some of the systems you was raised on?
Nintendo, basically. But
Yeah, you're a little younger than me.
yeah, a little bit.
My first system was an Atari.
Oh yeah.
I loved playing some Pac-Man on the Atari. Yeah. I loved playing some Pac-Man on the Atari.
I like Frogger.
Frogger was great.
Yeah.
I mean, there was so many cool games
Mm-hmm.
that went with it. But then, of course, there was a lot of flops.
Yeah.
You had all your. I mean, you got to remember the technology at this time was not that great for a project.
Yeah.
But at the same time, man, there was some duds. I mean, you had movies like multi-million-dollar movies like let's think of an '80s movie. Well, you had I'm pretty sure there was a fucking game about Star Wars,
Shit.
and I'm sure it was awful because it was on the Atari platform.
Yeah.
Now, did it have anything to do with it? It was probably just Space Invaders called Star Wars. I mean, it's just that kind. It's just the way that worked. But at the time, we were dying for anything. Which, granted, I wasn't around in the '80s. I just happened to. I had the leftovers because I was a poor kid, and that was the system we got.
Yeah.
But
I borrowed friends.
yeah, so
Can't afford it.
I mean, the effects of that just really was something that affects games today. I mean, you still have video games based on movies. I mean, using the Amazing Spider-Man as an example, you had the Xbox version that just come out this week or last week, and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know, but what would you say that would do with crappy games that wouldn't sell?
Destroy them.
I mean, wouldn't you just melt them down or?
Throw them in a
Or
pit, fire.
I mean, I'm sure in the '80s, I mean, they didn't care about anything. I mean, they're using plastic cartridges that are never gonna
Yeah.
dispose of themselves.
Do
So,
artwork with them.
yeah, but there was a lot of rumors and stuff. You know, what did they do with these games? And there was one game in particular that stood out,
Mm-hmm.
and that was E.T.
Oh man.
Now, E.T. was the game that most people in the gaming world says is the worst Atari game of all time.
I probably never heard of it. I never played it.
I mean, of course you haven't, because they didn't sell. No one played it because no one bought it.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a case going on this past week in New Mexico,
Mm-hmm.
and they were discussing. You know, there's a documentary crew who's looking for these lost games.
That's weird.
Now, there's been a rumor around the world of gaming that there's and this is a 30-year-old rumor going on that there's a ton of ET games buried in the desert.
Wow.
Now, they went on a search for it. They found where it should be and all this stuff, and they went in with a backhoe and went digging through concrete.
Oh jeez.
Concrete. And what do they find? But thousands of copies of E.T. buried under the ground.
I really wanted to hide them.
I mean, that. Now, granted, it's a concrete landfill.
Yeah.
Now, of course, there's a landfill built on top of it. Now, I mean, it's in the desert, but it's a landfill. Don't get me wrong, but you gotta really hate a game to bury it underground, cover it in concrete, and put a landfill on top of it.
That's pretty bad.
Now, how dedicated do you have to be to find this is my question. I mean, there's and there's these guys, like, I'm almost 100% sure they got together on Kickstarter, put the money together through Kickstarter to pay for a documentary to find these games.
Some hardcore collectors.
That is some hardcore collectors. They're not very smart, but once they went digging through this stuff, they found the boxes, the booklets, the cheat crap. You know how games used to be back in the day?
Yeah.
There was 100 things to go with every game.
Oh yeah.
And they started digging, and they see the Atari logo. And they knew they found the gold. The director's name's Zach Penn, and he was, he was a huge gaming guy himself. I mean, he says, it was something that he thought the people needed to see. Now, when this project started, there was about 200 people from the local town there to check out what was going on. You know, anytime. I mean, you got a small town. We're in a small town right now.
Yeah.
There's a freaking yard sale a block from here.
Oh yeah.
You know that everybody's there.
Oh yeah.
Now you imagine that same thing with an unearthing of some crazy stuff. I mean, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, could you imagine somebody was like, okay, we found the first Kentucky Fried Chicken. Now, I could say that we're one block away from the original Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Yeah.
Say that Colonel Sanders' original tie was buried somewhere. You know these crazy-ass people are going to go looking from, they're going to come from every holler, every back road, because they want to see that. Now, these 200 people are doing the same thing for these games. They don't even know we're there.
Yeah.
And not only that, they're going to a landfill to do it. That'd be like going to Mills' garbage and going and digging through Mills' garbage for Colonel Sanders' tie. Now, why would you do that?
I don't know.
I mean, that's some damn dedicated people to a rumor that may or may not be true, like I said. But granted, it did turn out to be true.
Mm-hmm.
The game, but like I said, this was E.T. Now, everybody loves E.T.
Mm-hmm.
Steven Spielberg classic, you know, E.T. Go Home. And the little boy with the finger sticking out, and it's a damn classic. You can't deny that.
Yeah.
You've seen. I mean, how many times do you think you've seen E.T. on television? Not even on fucking in the movie world.
A lot. It comes on there like.
That's what I'm saying. It's a fucking classic. So these they said they felt pretty relieved when they saw actual copies of this, and mounds of garbage, as I would like to call it, because I mean technically. Mm-hmm. It's mounds and mounds of garbage. If it's buried under concrete, it's garbage. It's there's no point in having it. So they went digging for this stuff. And wouldn't you be relieved if you're making a documentary about these games that you found in these games? Especially after you used all these people's money for Kickstarter.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of Kickstarter projects out there. And we're going to talk about one in a minute. But could you imagine using Kickstarter to dig up crap out of a garbage bin? And could you imagine being the person to actually give you that crap?
That would suck.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. The person who donated that money is an idiot.
I'm going to give you money for what?
I'm going to give you money I'm going to pay my $25 for this DVD I may never get because Kickstarter's bad for that stuff. For you to make a documentary on a movie on a project you may not find. But, like I said, there's 200 people shows up to this. And once they get there, you know, they're all excited and stuff. But what happens when you're in a landfill and you start digging?
You find all kinds of stuff. Probably dead bodies.
Yes, but okay, what happens when you break through concrete? You create dust.
Yeah.
When you create dust in a landfill and the wind comes through, that's got to be a rough situation. Yeah. And, I mean, I'm sure it was an awful situation to be exact. So they said by the time they started with 200 people, right?
Yeah.
By the time they actually got these games dug up, there was 12 people on site.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I mean, but there was people there to get their picture taken with a life-size ET doll that people brought with them, and
a big event.
But this is what I don't understand. Explain this to me. They was getting their picture taken with the DeLorean from Back to the Future with an ET figure. Now, they're either dedicated to the 80s.
Probably.
Or they were smoking crack in the 80s, and they think, you know, those two go together. Now, I don't know. There was some local people who had, you know, back in 1983, they got the tip to go visit this landfill. And here's one of their comments. It was pitch dark here in the night, but we came with our flashlights and found dozens of games. This is the person who started the rumor.
Mm.
Now, I'm sorry. Are you going to believe some person who went digging through the garbage and said, I found all these games, man, you should come too?
Mm-hmm.
That just sounds dumb to me.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound like something an intelligent person would do. And then this filmmaker got leave of it. And this was a guy who's made films on movies before. He's worked on a documentary that was developed by companies who helped develop the new Xbox, who documented the process of the Xbox 360 console, and all this crap. So they found over 250 games down in there. Now, what do you think they would do with them?
I clean them up.
They gave what they did is they gave one to each person, and they gave 250 of those games to the documentarian to sell as part of the project to make the money back.
Oh.
Now, there's thousands of games in this pit. The city is going to auction off the games and hope to turn this into a tourist spot.
Oh, wow.
Again, this is a landfill. Are you going to turn a landfill into a tourist spot because some idiots dumped a bunch of games in there? Now, I can understand. You've got your dedicated gamers out there.
Yeah.
But how many is stupid enough to go into a freaking landfill to get some games?
I don't like E.T. that much.
I don't like games that much. Well, I don't like games, period. But I definitely don't like games enough to go and dig in through a landfill and call it, an homage to something that's not even there because they dug them all up.
Yeah.
That just sounds stupid. There's smarter people than that out there. Be smart, America. Be smart. Now I know you're not, but be smart. But let's talk about some newer games. What kind of games do you play?
I play mainly PC, which is.
I mean, give us some examples.
Like first-person shooter.
Yeah, so you like the Call of Duty games?
Yeah.
How is the? Tell us. I don't play them. So tell us about how the games have improved throughout the years from, Call of Duty 1 to whatever the hell we're on now.
Oh, I don't even know how to... I mean, they've gotten a lot better with the storyline and stuff like that, but the graphics and stuff have gotten better.
Has the graphics gotten better enough to have Kevin Spacey do your motherfucking project?
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah, I've seen a screenshot of that.
Kevin Spacey he's in a commercial right now for the upcoming game Advanced Warfare, which comes out May 4th.
Oh, cool.
And, it was a leaked trailer, but still, hey, we love leaked trailers.
Oh, yeah.
But Activision, which is the company who makes the games, have released it.
Mm-hmm.
And they have Kevin Spacey being one of the main characters in the game, from what I understand.
That's crazy.
I mean, can you think, for instance, when I was playing my Atari, did I think there'd ever be a day where one of the biggest actors, I mean, you got to think, Kevin Spacey, look at all the projects he's done, and look at the projects he's doing right now.
Yeah.
I mean, for instance, you have, his new political short that they got on Netflix, House of Cards.
Oh, yeah.
That just won awards.
It was really good.
It's great. It's amazing. If you haven't seen House of Cards, check it out. There's 2 seasons on Netflix right now. Go watch it. But the important thing to get at is this guy went from that to doing a video game. Now, this is for the next-gen systems, of course, and PC.
Yeah.
But these next-gen systems are coming up crazy. I mean, have you saw the art for the Arkham City game?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the art on these games are amazing. It's like watching a film.
Yeah.
So I can understand why you're going to these actors now to put out such a great product.
Yeah.
And to me, that's crazy to even think of that there would be a day where we're using Kevin Spacey in a video game.
It'll probably get big, too.
For sure. Kevin Spacey is just so huge.
Yeah.
And the fact that he would... I just wonder how much Activision paid to have him do this project. How much would it take for you to be in a video? I mean, no, well, of course you would be in a video game for free.
Yeah.
But if we were making that much money, it's going to take a lot of dough to get me to do a video game.
That's true.
Because I mean, it's a lot of voiceover work. Now, granted, they do have his likeness, but that doesn't mean anything because when it comes to his likeness, what you're dealing with actually is them standing in front of the computer and getting scanned in.
Oh, yeah.
Similar to the way that McFarlane does their toys right now for The Walking Dead.
Oh, that's cool. I never knew that.
For The Walking Dead, McFarlane uses wands. They have this wand that they wave over your face, and it pulls out all your digital. It pulls out everything,
Wow.
and it scans you straight onto the thing, kind of like a paper scanner, but it's a wand that goes over you, and they go all around your body with it.
That's awesome.
And it makes a 3-dimensional figure. Because they don't sculpt anything anymore.
Yeah.
It's a plastic printer. So I mean that's really cool to think of technology-wise that we've come this far.
Yeah.
But some other actors in the news is one that I mean I know that you're probably not really a fan, but what do you think of um, what do you think of Doctor Who? I mean, you've never watched it, but the hype of such a show
It
from
must be pretty popular.
that's what I'm saying. The hype of I mean, I
It's
love it.
everywhere.
I love Doctor Who, but the hype of this show nationwide is just it's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not nationwide; it's worldwide.
Uh huh.
So what would you think the next project for somebody who's done so much amazing work would be?
I don't know.
I
Another
mean,
doctor.
how do you top Doctor Who?
I have no clue.
Well, he's this last Doctor. His name is Matt Smith.
Mhm.
Currently, Matt's doing the the tour of the con circuit.
Mhm.
He's got to deal with Wizard right now, but he just signed on for a pretty damn big project.
Wow.
He signed on for a major role in the upcoming new Terminator trilogy.
Shit.
He is going to be one of a main character in the project that reminds you somewhat of John Connor.
Oh, cool.
Now, as we know, John Connor is a Terminator.
Yeah.
So, does that mean he's going to be a Terminator?
Maybe.
More than likely. This project will also include Arnold Schwarzenegger once again. So we got Arnold back in the deal. We got J.K. Simmons. For those of you who don't know who J.K. Simmons, he played J. Jonah Jameson in the original Spider-Man movies.
Oh wow.
He was in Juno. I mean,
Okay.
I don't understand how Juno has it just popped in my head, and that's a movie he did. Um, there's a Deo Akanaki. I don't know who that is, as well as Brung Hung Lee.
Who's that?
I don't know. But these
Sounds
are
Asian.
they're all it sounds very Asian. But all these are going to be in the film. So it seems like they're going back. It doesn't seem like a reboot.
Mm,
Seems like a sequel.
it does.
I think that's pretty good. I mean, we have so many reboots these days. Do you really need another reboot? I mean, the last reboot was done
It gets
not
old.
long ago. I mean, you had Alan Taylor's Terminator, which was a reboot.
Mm,
Oh no, this is a reboot. I'm sorry. This is currently Alan Taylor's reboot. It's going to be called the Genesis, though. It's not really a reboot. It's more of a I guess it goes with what it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the same project that they're already working on,
Mm,
but it's like a prequel.
I see.
But could you imagine going from? That's a big project,
It is.
and I mean, you're not only going to be known as a doctor, you're going to be known as a Terminator. Those are two big things, and those are two big things in the sci-fi community.
Yeah.
I mean,
His name and that stuff is gonna.
it's going to be everybody's going to know who they are.
Oh yeah.
That's crazy.
Mm,
I mean, yeah, everybody already knows who Matt Smith is, but I mean, he does have a name that Matt Smith can be anybody. It's like John Doe. But when Matt Smith does this project, he's going to be crazy.
mm,
I believe it'll be a bigger audience for America because Matt Smith, of course, we all know that
mm,
Doctor Who is huge
yeah.
worldwide, and while it is big in America, the question is it as big in America as Terminator is? I say no.
I don't know.
So I say that this Terminator audience mixed with Doctor Who audience is going to make Matt Smith a name that is everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got a lot of actors who have recently worked on Doctor Who. Karen Gillian is in the upcoming Guardians of the Galaxy. She's got a horror film out right now, which looks really good. I haven't. I saw the preview. I went to go watch it, but of course I didn't because it wasn't a comic book movie.
Yeah.
That would involve taking time out of my life that didn't revolve around this podcast and the comic community. But I'm just curious to see how that's going to work out in the future with Matt Smith doing these kind of projects as well as the other people involved. But I was talking about a Kickstarter earlier, and the Kickstarter that I was talking about was for a comic web series called I can't remember the name of it. Let me look it up here on Facebook real quick. I didn't write it down. I wrote down everything, but I didn't write down that. The Liberator. It's called The Liberator, And this Liberator project
Yeah.
is it's a 64-page graphic novel hardcover for that you can get. You can buy today for $20.
Wow.
$20 for a graphic
That's
novel.
really good.
Now you're buying this graphic. Now it's a Kickstarter project.
Hmm.
They're trying to raise $9,000 to pay for the graphic, which is it's affordable.
Yeah.
And honestly, you're buying your comic. I mean, that's one thing about Kickstarter. Sometimes you're getting crap.
Yeah.
The way this Kickstarter is set up is you can pay $5 and you can get his a PDF version of 2 comics. Now $5 for a comic's not bad because we all know comics cost $4.
Yeah.
So you can do that,
Mhm.
or you can pay $10 and he's actually got a print version of a book that he's done in the past.
Yeah.
You can get that plus the PDFs. But for $20, you can get this graphic novel, the PDFs, and it's hardcover. It's not a floppy.
It's a really good deal.
That is great. It's a great deal.
No matter if you like it or not, it's still.
Yeah. And if you want to go a little better, guess what? You can pay $25 and get that signed and numbered.
Oh wow.
Now he's only doing a limited number of his signed and numbered project.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can spend more. You can go up to if you have the money, you can go up to $4,000 for one of his original Marvel covers that he did.
Yeah.
The original art pencils.
Mm-hmm.
That's great too. I mean, look at all these options you can have now. People like us can't afford $4,000, but we can afford $20 for an awesome graphic.
Yeah.
I mean, $20 for a graphic is not bad.
No.
I mean, we're looking at a stack of graphics right now. A lot of those are betwin
$30 and $40.
I mean, your hardcovers are between $30 and up.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of great stuff in them, but this is just as big as those hardcovers for $20.
Mm-hmm.
I believe everybody should hop on this deal. I mean, of course, we support the Kickstarter project, and the artist and writer's name is Joe St. Pierre. He's done work for Marvel. He's done work for DC. I believe he's even done some work for Image. So I mean, he's worked for everybody.
Yeah.
This is something you don't want to miss out on. You do not want to miss this Kickstarter project. So make sure you hit up Kickstarter.com, visit fanboysinc.com or RSRGentertainment.com. You can find the link. If you go to RSRG Entertainment, scroll to the bottom of the page, you'll see an ad for the Liberator.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you want to check out, I just want to see the art on this, or I want to see what's going on. You can go to theliberator.com and see his webcomic. Now, you're getting something different in the hardcover. It's called The Liberator Hard Drive, which I think is really a cool name for a hardcover book.
Yeah.
But you can look at the art that went with it before. You can see his webcomic. You're going to see what you can buy for free.
That's cool.
Now, if you just want to see what you're going to get, go check that out because I mean you can look at the comic for free. Mm-hmm. Now you're going to love it. The art is great. I mean, you took a look at the art. Yeah. I mean, it's very Marvel in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. It's different from every other indie comic.
Yeah, it's great because you have there's talented workers on this. Now I'm not saying if you do indie stuff you're not talented. You're great talented, especially these days. A lot of they all work in this all cross boards. But this book really seems something that is going to be able to be pushed really hard and something for everybody. Now there's something else going on today, Cody. Are you aware of what's going on today?
I'm not.
Today is a great day as a Kentuckian that you should know what is going on.
Oh, the Kentucky Derby.
Today is the run for the roses. Now, I know you're not a sports guy, and I know you could give 2 craps less about the Kentucky Derby. Now, I personally, I enjoy it for the idea of what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's our race. It's our state's race. No matter what it comes down to, those horses are ours.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're named the Thoroughbred State for a reason.
That's true.
You go to Lexington, Kentucky, look at how many farmland there is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I mean, we got nothing but horses here. Now, usually we have a local guy in the Kentucky Derby, but the Ramsey Farms did not make the Derby this year, so we don't have anybody to pull for. So I'm just going to give you some names of these horses, knowing nothing about these by the name only. Who would you support? Okay, we got Victor's in Trouble, Harry's Holiday, Uncle Si, Danza, California Chrome, Sam Rat. We miss Artie.
Wow.
General A-Rod, but they wanted to make it clear that General A-Rod has nothing to do with Alex Rodriguez. I mean, it clearly says it, no connection with baseball to Alex Rodriguez. Because they want to make sure that they're not known for the cheater in baseball right now.
That's funny.
He probably is named after A-Rod, but hey. Let's see, we got Victor Ramos, and it means we will overcome in Spanish.
That's pretty cool.
That's a cool name for a horse. We got Wildcat Red, Dance with Fate, Chuta. Medical count. No, metal count. Sorry.
Oh.
Like metal, like a word, not metal, like metal.
Oh, okay.
Trapture.
That's cool.
That horse is named after the horse Trappet, which is the sire to the horse. And then of course you have Intense Holiday, Commander Groove, Candy Boy, Ride on Curlin, and this is my favorite, Wicked Strong.
Ooh, that one's cool.
Wicked Strong is named after the last year's Boston Marathon runners.
Oh, okay.
Now, Wicked Strong is in the outside position, which is the 20th. There's 20 horses, 19 only running because one's been pulled out due to injury, which is really weird to think of that horses are getting pulled out due to injury. But, hey, they're like any other athlete.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, you got to think these horses are some intense athletes.
Mm-hmm.
Those horses can run faster than, they can run with cars sometimes. Yeah. Some of these. I mean, they run a mile and I think it's a mile and a quarter in the time that most people can't. I mean, they can't drive it that fast.
Yeah.
So, who are you rooting for? What do those names stand out to you? I mean, you got some great names as horses. Now, personally, I'm going for Wicked Strong.
Yeah, I like Wicked Strong. That's pretty good.
I think we're going to root for Wicked Strong in this year's Derby.
Yeah. Candy Boy, maybe.
Now this is strictly off of name alone.
Capture's cool. I like that one.
So we're going win for Wicked Strong. What other names do we pick out here? Tapture. So we're going show for Tapture.
Yeah.
And place for
Candyman.
And Candyman's gonna place. So Candyman's finishing in third in this year's Derby.
Oh yeah.
So but we got a special guest who just showed up. And so Cody's gonna bounce out of here for a second and let my buddy Todd come in and talk for a second. Now, this is a guy I've known since I was little, man. We were and I was actually small back then. And I'm not small anymore, so that says how long I've known this guy. I mean, we were raised in Boy Scouts. Yeah, put those on. Just pull that, Sergio. So I mean, we've known each other for a while. We've raced BMX together. We've gotten a lot of stupid shit together. So I mean, how you doing, Todd?
Doing all right. Running a little late.
You're all right, man. We're live right now.
Right.
We have
my first time live.
Yeah, your first time on the podcast, which is fun. But you're a card player, so this was a topic I wanted to discuss with you. You've had a history with the game, and this guy reminds. I mean, the person I want to talk about has been on projects involving cards before. I mean, he's played in the World Series of Poker.
Yeah, he placed in a World Poker Tour tournament. $10,000 buy-in, won out at $400,000.
And then, of course, we're talking about Mr. Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
And he's also a friend of Matt Damon, who was in the movie Rounders, which is a great movie about poker.
Oh yeah, the greatest.
Yeah, I mean, it really shows how. It's just great.
Oh yeah,
there's not very many. It's hard to get in that community. You know what I mean?
Hard to get out too.
For sure, but I mean, that's a hard movie to look into, it's a hard project to get right,
Yes.
And I mean, the movie's not perfect, but it does show the underground. It gives the person who doesn't know anything about cards a little glimpse into the underground world of poker. And one of the things that come with poker is cheating.
Yes, that's definitely part of the game.
When it comes to cheating, would you think of Batman as a cheater?
Not originally, no.
But But the new Batman, Mr. Ben Affleck, has been caught cheating in a Las Vegas hotel by counting cards. That just seems ballsy to me. And he's playing on these high dollar tables.
Yes, yeah, very high dollar tables.
Somebody like that's not just playing the average slots, and
No,
they're not playing on the $20 tables.
no. It takes a very intelligent person to count cards in any manner. Um, but anybody who's playing at a high stakes table, you're going to be watched. And my guess is if you're Ben Affleck and you're playing blackjack, I don't think it's going to be any easier.
Yeah. He was using a method called Perfect Basic.
Yeah, Perfect Basic. It's all they do. They have a number value for every card.
For every card. So it's kind of like what they did in the movie 21.
Exactly what they did in the. There's only 3 to 4 proven methods to actually do it. Now that they run a 6-deck shoe.
Yeah.
Which means the computer, or not the computer, the machine. The machine shuffles the cards, shuffles all 6 decks, and they deal from it.
So that's you got 6 decks instead of just one going.
Yeah, which is right. I think 362 cards.
That's a lot more than the average 52.
Rephrase, 312. I'm sorry.
312 cards.
Yeah.
So you have to really know what you're doing to, one, pull it off, 2, not get caught.
Well, yeah, actually, doing it is difficult enough. Doing it and hiding it is another story, because a lot of people, when they do it, they want to try to count on their hands.
Pull out their toes. And
they'll set their bets out, 2 or 3 hands ahead of time, which means that he had to do something obvious.
Well, this is alleged, but they said he was in a Las Vegas hotel visiting his wife, Jennifer Garner. They were on vacation prior to, Ben Affleck going to. He began shooting really soon the new Batman Superman movie in Detroit, so they're on vacation. Okay.
Yeah.
He's out at the table gambling. Around 10 p.m., he gets swarmed by pit bosses and shit, and removed from the premises.
Oh yes, and might I add, this is the same hotel that he allegedly walked into last year, made 3 $20,000 bets, wins all 3 hands, and turns around and walks out.
So he's got a reputation of. Of course, this is a guy who he's known for being a gambler. In 2011, he lost $400,000 in a Hollywood hotshot tournament.
Yeah.
So everybody knows he's going to be a gambler. Why would you pull that off? I know why. He doesn't need the money.
No.
It's an adrenaline.
Rush.
It's an adrenaline.
That's exactly what it is.
It's an addiction like everything else.
Mm-hmm.
A podcast I listen to called DVD ASA, one of the the host of the show is a hardcore, like, he can't go to Vegas. His addict said, do not go back to Vegas. Now the dude's a millionaire.
Yeah.
He's a painter. He painted some shit for Facebook. They, instead of taking money, he took stock in the company before the company was worth anything.
Yeah.
Become a $100 million person overnight.
Yeah.
Didn't even know what he was doing.
Yeah, it must be nice.
But before that, he was a millionaire too, because he was playing the tables.
Yeah.
He said it wasn't nothing for him to bet. He said he would bet $500,000 like it was nothing before he was rich.
Yeah.
Because he's like, I had a system, and I stick to that system.
Yeah.
And he won, but he was so addicted that he would lose everything. He wouldn't stop until he was done.
Yep. Any system you have will have dips in it. It doesn't matter. There's no perfect system for when you have to factor in luck. There is no system that is a guarantee. You will have dips, and you will lose eventually. You just have to keep those losses to a minimum. And if you don't know how to keep those losses to a minimum, then you're gonna lose it every bit every time.
Yeah, it's definitely. Somebody like us can't. We can't risk everything. We can't go bet everything we got on one hand.
No, not anymore.
I'm sure we can try it, and we can want to do it.
I bet quite a bit of money.
I've played the tables a little bit, not as much as you, but I like to play cards, but I don't want to risk it. I don't really risk my vehicle.
Oh yeah,
playing cards.
Yeah, I've seen people bet their cars. That's for sure.
It's definitely a game that takes you in. And whether you know anything about it or not, it's something somebody can sit down to and play.
Anybody.
You may not win, but it's something that it hooks you.
Anybody can do it. Yes. It's just absolutely just as addictive, or more than any drug. Anytime it's highly addictive. It's the best way to put it.
And we know Ben Affleck has an addictive personality. He's been to rehab several times for alcohol. I don't think he ever got dabbled into the drug side, but he was an alcoholic.
Yeah.
So, and what happened actually is around the time he got out of rehab is when he started playing poker. So he just switched one addiction for another addiction, and it's an addiction still affecting him today. Now, he was also, I didn't know this. Did you know he was in a film about, a casino heist? It's called Reindeer Games.
I read about it this morning. First time I heard about it.
And I just think it's interesting that he would get kicked out of the casino and keep going back.
Oh yeah, well now that he's labeled,
isn't he on the blacklist now?
Well,
probably?
Yeah, he's what?
I don't know though. Was it being Ben Affleck?
Well, this is the thing. He is now considered an advantaged player in the game of blackjack, which means when he plays blackjack, he has they know now.
They're gonna watch him.
Since they taught him, they know that he has an advantage, which it isn't that much of an advantage, but he has an advantage over everybody else, and he has been listed at every casino. No casino has banned him, period.
Yeah, but he's on the watch list.
Reports that are coming in are that no blackjack. He won't be able to play blackjack in Las Vegas. It's as simple as that.
And usually, with it being a Hard Rock casino, those are everywhere in the country.
Yeah.
So not only is he not going to be able to play in Las Vegas, they're all branched together. You've got your Harris's and I can't remember.
Belterra.
Yeah. So they're all basically work together. They hate each other, but when it comes to a cheater, by God, they're all on board. So really, if he's gonna have a tough time playing anywhere in the country.
Well, hold on, let's rephrase it. He's not a cheater.
Well, he's not a cheater. He's not a cheater, but in the eyes of them.
In the eyes of them, yes, he's got an unfair advantage.
Yeah, you're not a cheater if you can count cards. That just means you got an upper hand.
Oh, that just means that you're very intelligent. But obviously, he was just shy of being intelligent enough to hide it.
Yeah, he's a smart guy. The guy's wrote two movies that have been nominated for Academy Awards.
Yeah.
He's won an Oscar. He went from nothing actor to one of the biggest names in Hollywood right now.
Absolutely.
He's freaking Batman.
Yes, he's got a smoking wife.
He's got Jennifer Garner to go along with it. Something else I wanted to talk about. I don't know if you're aware of the situation. Have you kept up with the Donald Sterling situation with the LA Clippers?
I've not kept up with it. I've seen a couple of reports on it.
I don't want to get into all the details. I'll kind of tell what happened. Well, of course, Donald Sterling he's currently got caught on a tape with his girlfriend who is of Latin descent.
Who set him up?
And do you know why she set him up?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because his wife was he was giving her money, and her wife sued her for the money.
Oh. Okay.
And that's how it happened.
Okay.
Is he decided, she's gonna take advantage of the situation because she was about to lose her money that she just got for free. Of course, the guy's cheating. He's 81 years old. He's like Hugh Hefner. Well, he's younger than Hugh, but he's 81 years old, and he's still, having sex with 20-year-olds.
Yes,
good for him.
Yes.
Good for him, number one.
Yeah, we're not dissing on that.
No. It's just, this is what I understand. If you are a known racist, are you gonna?
Actually, I don't know. Blake Griffin's my favorite player in the game. Yeah. I love watching him more than anybody else. And
well, this is the thing that gets me about the LA Clippers. You're coached by a coach he was one of the greatest coaches in the game right now, Doc Rivers.
Absolutely.
Who is black. Now, does that matter? No, it does not. But when you were coaching for the LA Clippers, he played for the Clippers. He's played for this guy before.
Yeah.
He coached for him. Now, there's been rumors, of course, of him being a racist, but never so blatant as him saying that they're the enemy.
Yeah.
But now that it's out, it's out.
Yes, yeah. But it's fine. He just didn't want to do it in public.
Yeah.
Like it's
Well,
gonna make a difference.
this was the quote that got me. I would rather minorities not come to my games.
Yeah, that's just wonderful for his.
His best player on the team is Chris Paul, who is the NBA union. He's the union head.
Yeah.
He's over all the players.
Yes.
So you're using him as a plantation, basically. I mean, the way that they were talking is a lot of the players have said this has happened before.
Yeah.
That he runs his organization like a plantation.
Yeah.
And that they're just slaves to him.
Yeah.
Now, we can see in the past, until recently, the Clippers have sucked.
Yeah.
So he didn't care how good they performed.
Yeah.
Because he was getting millions of dollars off of them. Now, there's one thing about this. He bought the team in 1981 for $12 million. You know how much the team's worth now?
No.
Almost $4 billion.
That's
I think even though he's going to have to sell the team, he's still going to come out with roses.
Oh, absolutely. If he doesn't sell the team, their fan base, not only their fan base, their players.
Yeah, their players said they will not play for him.
Yeah, I mean, he has no choice, because if he keeps the team, there will be no team. Sells it, he makes a couple $100 billion or a couple $1 billion.
What's so funny, though, is the fact that next week he was supposed to be honored by the NAACP with a Lifetime Achievement Award.
Really?
No, and he's not got one once, but this was going to be a second Lifetime Achievement Award from the NAACP community of Los Angeles.
I did not know that.
For the money he's donated. I don't understand. How does a person get that way?
He evidently has practiced his outside voice and his inside voice.
I guess.
His public and private voices.
And more stuff's come out about this guy. Like, evidently, now who knows if this is true, but he's suffering from cancer now, and I mean, he could be dying.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, if he does have cancer, this happened, he's probably going to die soon.
Oh, yeah.
Because, you know, the effects of something like this happening is not good on somebody's health.
Oh, no.
Even if they're healthy.
Yeah.
So it's going to be bad.
Absolutely. Yeah. He's put himself in a deep hole, and he has no way out. Or the only way out he has is to get rid of his team, or you sell his team to somebody else. Take that money and do whatever he wants to do with it, I guess. Yeah,
that's just not something that happens. You can't do that. You cannot keep a team and talk like that.
No, absolutely not. I mean, he knows he's a businessman. He's been doing this that long. He knew that what he said, if it was to be heard, that his career would be ruined.
Well, this was what's funny. Okay, when he bought the LA Clippers, he was 62 years old. This is a guy, when it comes to media and social media, for one, the internet's 20 years old. He was 62 years old 20 years ago. He bought the team in his 50s, okay?
Yeah.
The internet is now 20 years old. He was 62 years old when it came about.
Yeah.
Do you think that guy knows anything about social media and how the effect that it'll...
Absolutely not.
I guarantee you, if you ask him what Twitter is, he's going to think it's some bird.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. He has no desire for Twitter. He has no use for Twitter.
No. And what makes it so crazy is the fact that he's dating this chick who has made millions off of social media.
Yeah.
And my question is how is she going to be able to basically show her face in the world again? I mean, if she wants to keep having sex with old men, that's not going to happen.
How is she? I mean, is she the exception for him?
I guess.
I mean, I don't understand that.
I was thinking of that too. I mean, he's a minority, so I don't know. Maybe he's able to get it up for her.
That's what I was going to say. I guess she's putting out that she's going to go ahead and give her a check mark. She's all right.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's just an interesting topic that I thought was kind of funny. I thought I should bring up. Are you a fan of horror films? I can't remember.
No, I'm not.
Okay. Well, the reason I ask is, you know, the Friday the 13th Jason franchises.
Yeah.
It's been big, and they tried rebooting it, of course, but now they're rebooting it as a television show.
Really?
Yeah, this has been a thing that's come up recently. They're about to redo Scream. as a television show. Now they're doing Jason. Now, how are you going to do a weekly television show about a guy who's just running around? What's the story there?
I don't know. I have no idea. I didn't know anything about that. I've heard about Zombie make it. Two
Movies or TV shows?
two movies. They made what, two? Is that what he remade it, right?
Yeah, he's got a couple. No, he made like 4 horror films.
Oh,
4 or 5 actually.
well, yeah.
Um,
Devil's Rejects. That's a hell of a movie.
for sure. But we're gonna go ahead and wrap this podcast up. I've got some more material, but I'll save it for a later time. But for you guys who are listening live, make sure you stick around on the Fanboys Inc. website for Inkcast. DW and the guys which are watching right now with the Sun View, are about to take over, and they're about to hit the network. I mean, we went for an hour strong. That's pretty good for me. I've been going 45 minutes for like the last 5 podcasts. So y'all got an hour out of me, and I'm waving DW hi. But make sure you stick around. They're going to podcast live from New York. So you're going from Kentucky, us redneck boys, up to New York with the City Slickers and the Yankees. So make sure you stick around. They're podcasting live from Saratoga, New York, at the Comic Depot. So stick around for that. And as always, guys, it's a lot of fun podcasting with you. It was great live. It worked out a lot better than I thought it was going to do. So as always, guys, you know what to do. Go fuck yourselves.